Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Steve, the Rock Fantasy Man, and I am here on the Rock Fantasy channel, and I'm going to be opening up a present I brought home. Black Sabbath's Technical Ecstasy Super Deluxe. The album was originally released in 1976, and this was on the back before I took the uh, cellophane off. This is a booklet that came with it. I actually bought this in 1976 at a local department store called Lloyd's Department Store. And that was there. And it was it was like a Walmart, but before its time. It was a locally owned department store that had a record shop, great toy department, pet shop, everything under one roof. And anyhow, this is the booklet that's inside of it. And when we go backwards a little bit, there's Mr. Tony Iommi. There's Mr. Ozzy Osbourne. And this is the booklet as we go into it. We'll kind of show you a little bit of it and flip through. See what you're getting if you do decide and able to make this purchase of the Black Sabbath box set. I'm hoping that they keep this up, and I would love a Sabbath Bloody Sabbath box set. And some of the albums they haven't touched, they've done a volume 4. They did the Sabotage, which I have, and I haven't opened yet. Maybe I'll do a separate video on that soon. I'm working this with my camera phone because my microphone's acting up on my laptop, if you've noticed in the last few episodes. I gotta be right over it. I can't move around at all. But this is some of the stuff in the booklet, just a story and the cassette cover, some of the covers from the different 45s. I had a jukebox once, a family jukebox, and it had the Rock and Roll Doctor and It's All Right single in it. And I thought it was the coolest thing to have a Black Sabbath 45 in the jukebox. And got played a lot at parties. And here's one of the logos. Some more. These are receipts from the recording studio, which was done in Miami, Florida. Ozzy Lee's Black Sabbath. More Japanese album cover insert. Some cartoon world and from the program. Also has a replica program in it. Black Sabbath. Some great reading in this. Different 45s, of course. Actually, these are the album labels, various ones. Great photos. Classic stuff. The liner notes from the album. Photo at the end. And then we've got Mr. Geezer Butler and Mr. Bill Ward. And that wraps up that book. And then we've got the official program inside. So this is cool to have. And there's an ad from it, of course. And there's Mr. Ozzy. Mr. Ozzy in form. And it talks about a little article about Ozzy. This is something if you were as old as I was and you went to the concert back then, everyone had tour programs. You would buy a program along with your concert shirt or whatever else. And here we go. We can get official tour merchandise by mail. So we can get a poster for 50 pence. We can get a t-shirt for $2.50. And you send this off to London. I'm sure you're not going to get anything if you send it now, since 76 is long gone. But you could get a concert shirt for $2.50 about back then, it says. Or pence, rather. That's interesting. There's Mr. Geezer Butler. Yep, and being a little floppy. There's Billboard. And then, of course, well, that wraps that up as I dump it to the floor. And this is the poster. I'm not going to open it up, but it's huge. It's a great thing to put on your wall, put in a frame. And inside here, we've got the albums. This is the Technical Ecstasy remastered. Then we've got the Technical Ecstasy new mix, which is mixed by Steven Wilson. I believe that is also. And then we've got the Technical Ecstasy outtakes and alternative mixes. And then we've got the Technical Ecstasy live tour 76. That's a double album, so you get a live performance. And it doesn't say where this was recorded. So I find that kind of odd that they throw an album in and they don't say, hey, from Kansas City, from London, England, from Madison Square Garden. They're keeping it a secret, but maybe there's somewhere that tells where it was recorded. And put it in the liner notes if you do know. And this is, a kind of cool gift, I would say. I'm going to open up the Sabotage during the holiday season. Maybe I'll film that too and see what's in there. But I also wanted to go over, if we can, a few of the albums from this year, as we're going to be gathering a couple episodes going over our top albums of 2021 from the metal realm. I'm just going to show off a few now that I've been listening to throughout the year. Let's see if I can get a little bit better lighting on it. And here we go. I think that'll help. Sorry about that, guys. And now it's a little too bright. So anyhow, this is Moonspell with Hermitage. Came out early in the year. And one of my favorite albums. I listened to this album a ton. And it's got a lot of meaning behind it. It just makes me relate to what we're living through with the pandemic. The second album I'm going to mention is one of the strongest albums of the 2021 year. It's from Halloween, and it came back with a vengeance. They have all three of the vocalists battling it out on each song. It's aggressive, it's fast, it's speed metal at times, it's power metal, it's Halloween. Then, of course, the mighty Nervosa from Brazil, which actually, they're not just Brazilian now, they're international. Members from Greece, Italy, and now I'm slipping up. But it's Mia Wallace, still bassist in Sabbath, ex-Triumph of Death, and she is now in Nervosa also, joining Prika, who had to reform the band with Diva Satanica, and also the drummer is from Greece. And here's a photo of them inside, if I can open this up, and there they are. And it kicks ass. It's one of the strongest releases of 2021. Definitely should be in everyone's top 20 albums or top 10, which it will be on mine. Then we've got At the Gates, The Nightmare of Being. That one came out in 2021 during the summer, another strong release. Here we go with Germany's power metal phenoms. Powerwolf with Call of the Wild. Theatrical, epic, power metal style. And I love it. And Cannibal Corpse with one of the top death metal releases from one of the kings of the death metal scene with Violence Unimagined. And they're the boys on there. And first album in a couple years from them. And strong, brutal, what you expect from Cannibal Corpse. Been hard to find on vinyl. It was pressed once with the shortages of vinyl and everything else. It's a pain in the ass, but I was lucky to get a couple copies. Here we are with Finland's Omnium Gatherum with Origin. Open that up. Another one of my favorite bands I get to see in the States. They plan on coming here in the spring on tour. Let's hope that can happen. with the pandemic. And I've got another band from Sweden. This is Grand Cadaver. It's Into the Maw of Death. This features a person you may know. This is Michael Stan from Dark Tranquillity. And this is his uh, death metal project. And it's a very strong release. And I totally love Michael's vocals, and I'm a big Dark Tranquillity fan, and it's nice to see him touch on some really aggressive stuff with this. Another band from Finland is Jess and the Ancient Ones, a very occult, uh, dark psychedelic ride you would go on with this. It's a very cool female fronted band. Check it out, Jess and the Ancient Ones. Another female fronted band is Lucifer, and this came out also this year. And it's Lucifer. It's actually self-titled, I believe. And I'm trying to open it up, but I'm fumbling. And I opened it up for a second, and now it wanted to flip shut. But there they are. Occult, stoner, rock, and it's another very good record. And then the next album is a long-awaited release from the band Hypocrisy. This is called Worship, and it's been a few years since Hypocrisy put out an album, and I would highly recommend it. A lot of the lyrics really touch on like aliens and what's going on with us in the pandemic, and they take a view on some of it and whatever else is going on in this crazy world. Another album that came out this year was a long-awaited Iron Maiden, and another album that some people were really loving and raving about, and other people were like kind of unenthused. I'm in the middle. I have to give it a better listen, but it's one that has to be mentioned on this year's release. Another album from England, we got Carcass back with Torn Arteries. Quite a few copies of this still in the shop, along with the At the Gates record. I do have it with the blood splattered vinyl, so long awaited release from them, coming back strong. There's an album from Catatonia. If you know me, you know I love Catatonia. It's an album of B-sides and rarities that throughout their career, and this came out this year too. It's a 3 LP set inside there, so you get a lot of odd Catatonia stuff, and I love Catatonia. Another band from Finland, Swallow the Sun, who were just actually made a North American trek. They were in New York City a week or two ago. I didn't even know about it, but I'm out of touch here. But Swallow the Sun's back with their style of doom and melodic Swedish death. Not death metal, but melodic death, I guess you want to say. Next album I'll mention is KK's Priest. This is KK Downing and Ripper Owens. Of course, KK from Judas Priest, and it's Sermons of the Sinner. If you like Judas Priest, you like 80s metal, this album is for you. I cannot believe how strong this record is. Next two records I had them ordered directly from the band. You cannot get them in stores. As far as I know, it's Enslaved, Rise of the Yimmer, and it's from the Cinematic Tour of 2020, which they did some streaming dates, and this is the Cinematic Tour of 2020. So there are two albums of live stuff that they put together, and very good, great to listen to, from one of my favorite bands. And they played without an audience for these, but they captured them and recorded them and released them on vinyl, and it was a great something cool to have and help support the bands while they're not touring to buy some stuff. This is from Dutch death metal legend Asphyx with Necrosaurus. This came out in early 2021. A band that we featured on the Rock Fantasy Files, also from Finland. Very similar in the style of Swallow the Sun, Mariana's Rest with Fatana Morgana. This came out on Napalm Records this year. It's the same mode of melodic, doomy, atmospheric death metal. Here from Sweden, metal speed and death metal veterans Crown with Royal Destroyer are back, and we've got Crypta, another Brazilian death metal, female death metal band, thrash metal band, I guess you want to say. And it features Fernando, longtime vocalist and bass player with Nervosa, and Luana, the drummer, also came from Nervosa. Sonia Anubis, I believe, was in Burning Witches for a while. And we have the guitarist Tayana. And another strong, more, maybe a little bit more in the death metal realm than Nervosa with the thrash, but Prika and Fernando went separate ways and both came out with strong releases for 2021. Tribulation, where the gloom becomes sound. Kind of like Dracula style gothic black metal rock and roll type music, and strong release. Getting down to the bottom, also from Finland is melodic metal veterans, Evergrey with Escape of the Phoenix. And this album also came out early in the year. And Gatefold Sleeve. What are the ones we have to mention? We have the latest from Epica that came out in 2021, Omega. Of course, symphonic metal with Simone. I've got to catch them several times live in New York City when things were normal. Always a great performance. And back is shock rocker Rob Zombie with the Lunar Injection, Kool-Aid, Eclipse Conspiracy. And of course, everything you expect from Rob Zombie. And it came out in 2021. And I think he got to tour some dates from it. Black metal, Dark Throne off Peaceville with Dark Throne and Eternal Hails. Epic black heavy metal, of course, with Nocturna Culta and Fenris back for another round. And then we've got Doro Pesh came out with an album this year. One of the live albums. I didn't bring other live albums out, but Doro, good friend of Rock Fantasy, has been to the store in the past. And Warlock Triumph and Agony Live was recorded a year or two ago, and she got some of the members of Doro, and I believe a couple from original Warlock, and they went out and did pretty much recreated the album in front of a live audience. I believe it was in Germany. And what do we got? And there's also last year there was another release from German power metal phenoms, I want to call them, because they're taking the world on fire with best of the blessed. It's a best of from their several albums. They've been around a while, so. And of course, We Drink Your Blood, Army of the Night, Resurrection by Erection, of course, Sanctified with Dynamite, Killers with the Cross, Sacred and Wild. Very melodic power metal style band. And I guess that kind of wraps it up. So I just want to give a shout out to everyone that's helped the Rock Fantasy Files. We've had a great year with all kinds of great episodes, having bands like Voivod on, and we had this recently had Suffocation hanging out in their dressing room and getting ready to do their first shows. Of course, all our co-hosts, John McAtee, who does so many great interviews, of course, from the legendary Incantation, who's off in Mexico right now doing some tour dates. So amen and hails to him for doing that and getting out to doing some gigs. Alex Boakes from Immolation, Robin Mason from Gruesome, Denny Barth, Tony Dio, Chris Allo, Stephen Levin, Rose Gordon, who works for me. I can go on and on. We've had so many. Will Carroll from Death Angel, and I don't want to relieve anyone out, but I'm sure I will. We've done so many. And John Gaffney from Lair of the Alchemist, I would mention also. And we got some great episodes coming up. We're working on Yes, Fragile and the Yes album 50th anniversary this week, and we're also going to be doing a Venom Welcome to Hell 40th anniversary episode, and then we're going to wrap around and get our year-end list, and hopefully we get some band members on and stuff so to get on there, and we'll talk about the year in music of 2021, where we got some live shows back and we got some audiences back, and let's hope it moves forward. But stay heavy, and please hit that subscribe button and share it around. Get your friends to subscribe. We're almost to 3,000 subscribers, and we get a lot of watches. So it's been a pleasure talking music while I'm here in the bunker. Peace out.